Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Chanda Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Chanda Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Chanda Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Chanda Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhu Gurudev 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 Jaya Gurudev Jñeyaṁ Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parigacchaya Astasata Shishi Mata's Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Brinda Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Radha Shama Sundar Ki Jai. Shri Shri Krishna Balaramaji Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Welcome to this evening's Bhagavad Gita class. Today we're reading from chapter 13, text 13, Nature, the Enjoyer and Consciousness. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Aginati Mirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manoistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Yishiyuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsta Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitam Sta Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorange Radhe Brindavanishvare Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Pride Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jñeyaṁ yatat pravakṣyāmi jñātvāmṛtam aśnute anādi mat-param brahma nāsad ucyate jñeyaṁ yatat pravakṣyāmi jñātvāmṛtam aśnute anādi mat-param brahma nāsad ucyate. Please repeat.
jñeyaṁ
yatat pravakṣyāmi jñātvāmṛtam aśnute anādi mat-param brahma anādi mat-param brahma.
jñeyaṁ yatat pravakṣyāmi jñātvāmṛtam aśnute anādi mat-param brahma nāsad ucyate.
Nāsad ucyate.
jñeyaṁ yattat pravakṣyāmi
jñeyaṁ yatat pravakṣyāmi
jñātvāmṛtam aśnute
jñātvāmṛtam aśnute
anādi mat-paraṁ brahma
jāyate mat-param brahma
nāsad
nāsad ucyate. Ladies. jñeyaṁ yatat pravakṣyāmi jñātvāmṛtam aśnute anādi mat-param brahma nāsad ucyate. Word for word. jñeyaṁ, the noble. Yat, which. Tat, that. Pravakṣyāmi, I shall now explain. Yat, which. Jñātvā, knowing. Amṛtam, nectar. Aśnute, one tastes. Anādi, beginningless. Mat-param, subordinate to me. Brahma, spirit. Na, neither. Sat, cause. Tat, that. Na, nor. Asat, effect. Ucyate, is said to be. I shall now explain the knowable, knowing which you will taste the eternal, Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. Please repeat. I shall now explain the knowable,
I shall now explain the knowable,
knowing which you will taste the eternal,
knowing which you will taste the eternal,
Brahman, the spirit,
Brahman, the spirit,
beginningless and subordinate to me,
beginningless and subordinate to me,
lies beyond the cause and effect
lies beyond the cause and effect
of this material world.
of this material world.
Purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. The Lord has explained the field of activities and the knower field. He has also explained the process of knowing the knower of the field of activities. Now he begins to explain the knowable, first the soul and then the supersoul. By knowledge of the knower, both the soul and the supersoul, one can relish the nectar of life. As explained in the second chapter, the living entity is eternal. This is also confirmed here. There is no specific date at which the jīva was born, nor can anyone trace out the history of the jīvātmā's manifestation from the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is beginningless. The Vedic literature confirms this. Na jāyate mriyate va vipaścit. Kaṭha Upaniṣad 1-18. The knower of the body is never born and never dies, and he is full of knowledge. The Supreme Lord as the Supersoul is also stated in the Vedic literature, Kaṭha Upaniṣad 6:16, to be pradhana kshetrajña patir gunesha, the chief knower of the body and the master of the three modes of material nature. In the Smriti it is said, Dasa bhuto hare eva nanyasvaiva kadachana. The living entities are eternally in the service of the Supreme Lord. This is also confirmed by Lord Chaitanya in his teachings. Therefore, the description of Brahman mentioned in this verse is in relation to the individual soul. And when the word Brahman is applied to the living entity, it is to be understood that he is Vijñāna Brahma, as opposed to Ananda Brahma. Ananda Brahma is the Supreme Brahman, personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. it gets a little bit technical. Because as amṛtam Prabhu was explaining yesterday, we're covering the portion of the Bhagavad Gita that deals with jñān, or jñān here means transcendental knowledge, of course. So yesterday he had this marathon of covering verse 8 to 12, 5 verses. In those 5 verses, the symptom of knowledge was explained. In other words, somebody situated in transcendental knowledge will display those symptoms that Krishna listed yesterday. How many were they? 19, no? 20? 20, was it 20? I thought it was 19. Anyway, it was a lot of them. And so what is the starting point today now is, so we learned about the symptoms of knowledge, and now from text 13 to text 19, we will learn about the object of knowledge. Specifically, as Prabhupada introduced already in the Purport, we'll be hearing about the soul and the Supersoul. You will see in the following verses so much detailed knowledge will be given about the Supersoul. So this knowledge of Vidya is very important, of course. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, that was so noisy, that fan, and it gets too cold. Yeah, thank you for turning it off. See, it's quieter in the room now too. So anyway, Krishna, one name of Krishna is Vibhu. That means he's the greatest, he's omniscient, he is all-knowing, he is unlimited. So Krishna has these qualities. So naturally, his speech, which is non-different, which is Bhagavad Gita, is also Vibhu. It's the highest knowledge. It is unlimited. It is the greatest knowledge. And of course, it's not easy to comprehend. Just the same way how the Lord is inconceivable to us, actually. Somehow or other, Krishna has kindly made himself available to us in so many ways. But really, his greatness is inconceivable to us. So similarly, his speech, his scripture, is actually also not so easy to understand. We should never have this misconception of thinking that Bhagavad Gita is just ABC. It's actually non-different from Krishna. And like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he explained in the very first verse of his Shikshastakam, he gives the 7 benefits of this Sankirtan, this Harinam Sankirtan, or chanting the holy name of the Lord. And one of these items or benefits is Vidya Vadu Jivanam. So Vidya, the word Vidya, knowledge, is there. Vadu simply gets translated as wife. Vidya Vadu Jivanam. So this knowledge is wedded to transcendental life, you see. So the knowledge given by the Lord is eternal. Actually, this word Vadu, wife, my revered spiritual master explains, means a newly wed, like a newly wedded wife. I've had the great fortune to once attend a wedding in Orissa, in just a simple village environment, and it's very, very different than the Bollywood weddings that we have here in the cities, where, you know, the father takes out huge loans from the bank and he goes into big party mode. It was not like that at all. The groom came to the bride's home, the ladies were decorating, and she was only crying. To me, it was inconceivable. I was very new in Orissa at that time, and usually when somebody gets married, it's all excitement and joy and happy. I found my life partner. But this Mataji, the whole time, she was only crying. The ladies were putting, henna and nail polish and decorations and ornaments and so many things. She was not aware of it at all. And I was so puzzled. Nobody could pacify her. I couldn't understand it. And then when the time came, and everybody was in a festive mood, the father was giving presents and gifts and this and that. And then the time came for her to leave her father's home for the first time, because that is the custom, that the bride will now go traveling with the groom to his house, and she'll become a member of his family. So as she was walking from the front door towards the gate, she was completely bent over and still crying. So there's this separation of leaving the home, but she was so humble, she was so humble and just accepting this situation. And so similarly, this vidyavadu jivanam, this transcendental knowledge, one of the symptoms, actually Krishna lists it as the first, yesterday we were hearing, is humility. Humility. So that's the first effect that this transcendental knowledge will have. By hearing about the greatness of the Lord, the greatness of His speech, it should put us into a very humble mood naturally, because He's Vibhu, and we as the Jīva, we are Anu. We are atomic, small in size, you see, like that. So we just had this amazing festival, of course, of Janmashtami. And then the next day, Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. And I noted on Janmashtami, in many of the speeches, this verse from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 9, it's a very famous verse, was quoted. Janma kama chame divyam evam yoveti tatvataha. Tatvataha. So this is the word tatvataha we have to take notice of. Tvaktva deham puna janma naiti mam eti sojana. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So here Krishna is pointing out, if you know this transcendental knowledge, this vidya, in truth, tattva, this word truth is very important here, that we should know Krishna in truth. When I was preparing for this class, I carefully, of course, went through the purport, and you noticed how Prabhupada gave a couple of quotes from different scriptures, and I researched them. And I was also found one lecture that he actually gave on this verse, 1313, I think it was the 6th of October 1973 in Bombay. You can also research. So I took help, I took notes and help from, working with the purport and also this lecture. So, coming back to this verse in chapter 4, text 9, tattva. What is meant by tattva? And actually, there are so many aspects. Prabhupada, Krishna is called the absolute truth. It's the highest truth. It's always the truth. At all time, in all place, past, present, and future. And never mind which universe, there's an absolute truth. So we need to understand this absolute truth. So there's different aspects, as Prabhupada explains in the introduction. Primarily, we need to understand Krishna Tattva, Jīva Tattva, and Maya Tattva. These are in relationship to each other. If we can understand Krishna in truth, if we can understand jīva, the soul in truth, what is the nature and the position of the jīva, and if we can understand Krishna's external energy, prakriti or maya tattva, then we can also understand the relationship, we can understand the function and the purpose and the goal, like that. Because why it is so important? Because Krishna points out, one who knows my transcendental nature, meaning one who knows me in truth, evam yo veti tattvataha, then you no longer have to come back to this material world. It's as simple as that. Because, you see, we have to understand one thing. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Bhajan Rahasya in chapter 2, he explains that in chanting of this Hare Krishna mantra, to make progress, there is a stage called anādi. Srila Prabhupada also explains that in Nectar of Devotion. He, I think it's chapter 17. He explains about anādi. What is anatta? Anatta. Atta means goal. Anything that takes me away from the goal. Something that's bewildering. So we're working on trying to understand Krishna in tattva. So we don't want any anattas, any illusion, any bewilderment, isn't it? So there are 4 anattas listed, main anattas. Do you know, have you heard of them? There's Hridaya Daurbalya. Krishna also mentions that to Arjuna in the 2nd chapter. How has this weakness of heart come over you? There's asat Krishna, or maintaining so many material desires. We learn that when we are reciting the 10 offenses against the holy name, to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on the matter, right? And then there is aparats, of course, namaparat, sevaparat, and there's a 4th one, and that's called tattva vibhrama. Not knowing the truth correctly, you see. So, tattva vibhrama. These 4 anattas each also have 4 subheadings. So we're just focusing on tattva vibhrama, illusion about the absolute truth. Because Krishna is teaching us that we have to know him in truth. And Srila Prabhupada explains in the Purport the truth about the soul and the Supersoul. And we'll come to that in a moment. So, one misconception is that we can have illusion about spiritual knowledge. You see, and that's actually so important, especially in our movement. We know that there is a prediction that Srila Prabhupada's movement will go on for the next 10,000 years. But what are we going on? Are we going on truth, or are we going on misconceptions? You see, if we want to uphold the prestige of Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON society, we have to be very careful about that. And that's why whenever we speak, Srila Prabhupada explains that in the 17th chapter, in the Purport to text 15, he says, whatever we speak, it needs to be at once backed up by Shastra. Otherwise we run the danger of speculation, or maybe just following out of sentiment, or maybe even fanaticism, you see. So we want to, if individually, we want to go home back to Godhead. So Krishna's saying, for that you need to know me in truth, right? And also our movement is a famous, very, very famous, huge preaching organization. So I need to be, need to have principle integrity, that what I'm speaking, what I'm giving is the truth. It might not be palatable, but it has to be true in my heart. It has to be true to Krishna. It has to be true to Srila Prabhupada, like that. So we can't have anatas or illusion about spiritual knowledge. Also, have an illusion about your own spiritual identity. We need to be very clear that yes, we are jīva. This is what is being addressed here. We'll get to that in a moment. Prabhupada is touching on jīvātmā. We need to understand what is our position as jīva, as soul. We are eternal. We are never born like that. We are beginningless. But we are anu. We are very small. And we're always in the position of servant. Then we can't have any illusion about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We need to understand. And so many scriptures are there, Ekala Ishvara, that Krishna is the highest personality. Prabhupada again and again, he always says Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He says that very deliberately, that there is no one equal to Krishna and there is no one higher than Krishna, like that. And we also can't have illusions about items which are unfavorable to our Krishna consciousness. We have to be very clear about that. We need to very carefully accept the instructions of our acharyas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written hundreds of songs to encourage us of what is favorable, what is unfavorable. Rupa Goswami clearly lays it out in his Upadeshamrita, like that. What are favorable items? What are unfavorable items? Like that. So we can't have any illusion about that. Illusion, how can it be an illusion? People might say, oh, but that's not practical. Following that, it's unreasonable. It was then when Prabhupada was here. It's not applicable in this day and age. Speculations come in of what is important. So we need to be very thoroughly aware and honest with ourselves of what is favorable and what is unfavorable to our devotion, like that. So coming back to the purport now. So we've touched a little bit on the position of what is the Supreme Lord, what is the jīva, and what are some anatas or misconceptions of the truth. Now, in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 7, and Prabhupada quotes this verse many, many, many times. mat-paraṁ nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mayi savam idam protam suche mani gana iva. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Right? So here Krishna himself, he makes this point that there's nothing superior to him. In regards to the and then about jīva, there's so many quotes in the Bhagavad Gita, of course. So we've heard now how Krishna is supreme and how there's so much evidence to support that. And then we understand the nature of the jīva. In the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 3, Krishna himself says, the total material substance called Brahman, and this is what we are discussing here, Brahman, is the source of birth. And it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the birth of all living beings, of son of Bharat. Then in the next verse he says, it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. So we've spoken about the superiority of Krishna, the position of the jīva. And Srila Prabhupada quotes in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 10, very, very famous verse. He says, O Dhananjaya, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam hetuna nena kunteya jagat viparivartate. Very, very famous verse. Mayadhyakshena prakriti. So we're speaking about prakriti, the external energy of the Lord, the material energy, or Maya Tattva. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction. O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created, annihilated, and annihilated again and again. So Krishna is the absolute truth. He has various energies. One of them is material nature, which always works under his direction, and from that everything is created and annihilated. And in support of that, I found a beautiful verse from Kalyana Kalpataru, where Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, we're speaking now about Maya Tattva, right? We've covered Krishna Tattva, Jīvātmā, and now Maya Tattva. This material world is a manifestation of Maya. Maya, or the external energy, is the shadow of the Lord's internal energy. She is also a maidservant of Krishna. She is the superintendent of the prison house, which is this material world. So it's very clearly, we actually are so fortunate, so privileged that Prabhupada has taken so much trouble to very clearly delineate to us, to everyone. I'm just reminded again of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. You know, a very by Prem Das, some poet who wrote this verse, Premananda Das. Uttama adama kichuna bajila jajiye dileka kola kahe premananda emana koranga dire, I forget the rest.
Emana koranga Dariya prema bola.
Dariya prema bola, like that, sorry. I know these verses actually. Please forgive me, I have a shortcoming. When it comes to public speech, I get tongue-tied. So that's why I keep these notes. But it's a very famous song wherein it says, whether you're from the highest or you're the lowest, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't discriminate. He gives everyone the opportunity and access to the holy name, specifically that holy name, which gives us love of God, like that. So we all have that opportunity, yet we can't just simply become lazy either. We have to make an effort, right, isn't it? Mother Yashoda had to make such an effort to bind baby Krishna, isn't it? Like that. So similarly, even so ultimately, it is only by the mercy of the Lord that we can be liberated from this material world, what to speak of coming back to Him, to His eternal abode, being reinstated in our eternal service to Him. We have to make an effort. Krishna has to know that He can trust us, isn't it? If you're making an agreement to get married to a partner, or you make an agreement to join a particular college or university, isn't it? You very carefully research first all the conditions. Can I trust this? Is this an authorized institution? Or can I trust this person to be my partner for the rest of my life? Isn't it? So similarly, we've taken so much time and trouble to find Krishna, and Krishna is so happy to receive us, of course, but He also needs to know, are you genuine? Or are you just using? Are you just using me like a business exchange? You want me to just give you things? Or are you actually really serious about a loving relationship, you see? So here in the purport, Prabhupada, of course, he quotes the Kaṭha Upaniṣad, and we know that that's the verse from in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, text 20. Text 20. Na jāyate mriyate va karachin nāyam bhutva bhavita vana bhuya ajo nitya shasvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sarire. So Prabhupada quotes this verse now just to give tattva about the jīva, jīvātmā. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Then he quotes Kaṭha Upaniṣad 6:16, Pradhana kshetragya patir gunesha. And I was able to find it. Prabhupada gives the translation to both of these verses that he quotes here in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 5th canto, chapter 20 to text 5. And he says, the Supreme Lord, the creator of this cosmic manifestation, knows every nook and corner. That's a typical English way of putting it. Prabhupada is giving in the purport. The Supreme Lord knows every nook and corner, right? It's like a mother. She knows everything that's going on in the house. As soon as anything is missing or somebody's looking for something, Mom, isn't it? Because everybody in the house knows, she'll know where it is, isn't it? So similarly, a businessman running a huge factory or whatever, he's just sitting in an office behind his desk, but he knows every nook and corner of his business, isn't it? So similarly, Krishna, he's the creator of this cosmic manifestation, and he knows every nook and corner of his creation. That's amazing. You have to stop and think about that sometimes. We are aware, like as jīva, we are aware of our body, our little world, our home, our environment, our job. But like you go outside and thousands and thousands of people are, millions of people, billions of people all over the planet. And Krishna is in everyone's heart. And not just that, every tree, every plant, every ant, every elephant. And he's perfectly aware of them. Isn't that amazing? You see? Although he is the cause of creation, there's no cause for his appearance. So why does Krishna come? He doesn't have to come to this material world. Why does he come?
For the reciprocation of duties.
Yes, to establish religious principles, especially when things have gone haywire, and to protect the devotees, like that. Because they're dear to him. The devotees are dear to him. He is fully aware of everything. He is the Supersoul. We're speaking about the soul and the Supersoul. So that's why Prabhupada is quoting this verse. He is the Supersoul, the master of all transcendental qualities. And he is the master of this cosmic manifestation. So Krishna is always in the master position. And he is the master of this cosmic manifestation in regard to bondage to the conditional state of material existence and liberation from that bondage. So he caused this material energy, and the jīvas, the wayward jīvas, are caught here under his supervision, and only by his mercy they can become free from this bondage. Just like in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 22 in the Purport, Prabhupada explains about the two birds sitting in the tree, right? One is just simply watching, supervising, and the other one is trying to enjoy the fruit of the tree. So one is the soul and one is the supersoul, like that. In the Kaṭha Upaniṣad, it then goes further. The expansion of Lord Vishnu as the tiny living entity. So the living entity is an expansion of Vishnu, and the Supersoul are both situated within the cave of the heart of this body. Now the next quote, Dasa bhuto hare eva nanyasya kadachana, is a verse that appears in the Padma Purana and is quoted by Jīva Goswami in his Paramatma Sandarbha. There's a huge body of literature written by Jīva Goswami just about Paramatma. And there it says, in the sacred syllable Om, the letter M stands for the individual spirit soul. You've heard this thing, right? Krishna also explains about the syllable Om, how he is the syllable Om. Now we know the Om is made up of 3 letters, A, U, M. A stands for Krishna. U stands for Radharani. And the M stands for the individual spirit soul. The individual soul is the knower of the field of activities. He is transcendental, and he is, in his original spiritual nature, a servant of Lord Hari. So this is jīvātmā. In our original spiritual nature, we're always a servant of Hari. He's not a servant of anyone else. And these things were already discussed in the beginning of this chapter. It's a little bit technical language, you know, knower of the field and the knower and the knowable, and a bit of a tongue twister. But anyhow, these things were already discussed. So then the last item, Prabhupada speaks about Vijñāna Brahma as opposed to Ananda Brahma. What means Vijñāna? There's the word Jñān, Vijñāna.
Applied knowledge.
Applied knowledge, realized knowledge, experienced knowledge. So we can receive this transcendental knowledge by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, and we have to apply it and we have to realize it. That's what I meant to say at the beginning of the class, that we can't just sit back and wait for mercy. We do need mercy, but we need to make an effort. So we need to learn this jnana, that's why Krishna is giving it, and we have to realize some of it, but more important, apply it in our lives, like that. And Ananda Brahma, of course, as Prabhupada says, it means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the reservoir of all pleasure. Right? Krishna, Na Ananda. He is the reservoir of all pleasure. So if we want true happiness, true pleasure, we need to connect to Krishna. Now, just as like I said, I listened to a lecture by Prabhupada on this topic, because it gets a little bit technical for me to understand these different aspects. I mean, there's so many different directions you can go to explain so many different aspects. But one main mood that I perceive in Srila Prabhupada's lectures, I feel, is always he has a strong urgency to make sure that we become properly Krishna conscious. That we don't have this tattva vibhrama, any illusion. That we understand Krishna in tattva, in truth. And he had, and it wasn't just some over-ambitious, hopeful way of thinking. He was actually very sincere and very serious in wanting to make the whole world Krishna conscious. If you read, in the beginning of Nectar of Devotion, and if you read in Prabhupada Lilamrita, he knew the means and the way of how to actually make this whole world Krishna conscious. Now we have to have faith in that. Sometimes it seems like a bit overwhelming because Kali Yuga Maya is very, very strong and it's always on the attack in a very powerful way. But Srila Prabhupada said if just 1%, and he had an ambition to fulfill that. And of course now there's so many amazing disciples of his that have achieved these goals through their brilliant preaching. He said 1% of the world population becomes Krishna conscious, the whole world will change. And actually that's what's coming about. I'm astonished, so many things, but I honestly expected back in the 80s, the clock was ticking. There was the Cold War between America and Russia, and there were all sorts of propagandas going on at that time, and we were thinking at any moment there'll be an atomic war. Prabhupada, in some places, said by the year 2000, everybody will be living underground. Even he expected it. So I'm always amazed that it hasn't happened. Of course, right now the political scene, and I don't go there, it seems really way out of control again, and these leaders are very untrustworthy personalities. But somehow or other the preaching is going on, the chanting is going on, the book distribution is going on, and it's not just a fan club, something that we do, because that's what we do. No, we have to be convinced. Like Prabhupada, he was convinced to make this whole world like Vaikuntha. And it wasn't just something to butter us up or, to give us some false hope. He was serious about it. So again, because in this lecture, so many lectures you hear that we have this valuable human form and we shouldn't just be occupied with eating, sleeping, mating and defending. He said that's animal propensity. He calls it, what is it? Two-legged animal, dvipad pashu, right? Dvipad pashu, two-legged animals. Let's not be two-legged animals. And he encouraged that we also show people not just to be comfortable with some sentimental spiritual ideas of how to give them some feeling of religiosity, yet at the same time they're still so occupied with dharma, artha, kama and moksha. He wanted everyone to become a pure devotee of Krishna, which we originally actually are. And as we were just hearing from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this material world is a prison house. We're all in a prison house, actually. And we have to have a far vision of how to get out. Because neha vikrama nashosti pratyavayuna vidyate svalpamapyasya dhamasya jāyate mahadopyayat. So in this endeavor, there's no loss or diminution. There's no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. What is the most dangerous type of fear? To go back to lower species again. And that's a possibility. Not for us, because we're chanting, we're taking prasadam, we're hearing Bhagavatam and like that. But so many people are suffering in so many ways, and so many people are in this illusion of enjoyment and happiness. Especially I'm witnessing, I'm sorry to say, but here in India, there's India is becoming a very powerful nation on the world stage, and it's experiencing a huge economic boost. So much money is going. So people are in this enjoying mood, very much in this enjoying mood. You see? So they have some piety, so they come to the temple. But we have to take this task seriously to encourage them that actually still you're in a prison house and you need to become a servant of Lord Krishna. Like that. So many other things are there to say and discuss. Time is up. Does anybody have a comment or a question? Maybe?
I think this repeat anathas for types or nathas.
All right. First of all, there's aparad. Aparad is an anatta. If you commit nama aparad or seva aparad, that's one of the categories. And there's 4 categories, and each one has 4 subheadings. So one is nama aparad, or aparad, just in general, aparad. Any aparad. Nama aparad, seva aparad, Vaishnava aparad, and any aparad to any living entity. You see? So these are the aparads. Then there is hridaya daurbalya, weakness of heart. Maintaining envy, fault finding, like that. This is weakness of heart, pride, you see. Then there is asat trishna, maintaining material desires, wanting to have heavenly enjoyment, maintaining attachments to sense gratification. And then, as we were saying, there's this tattva vibrama, illusions about tattva, about the absolute truth, like that. So we have to be very clear about what is jīvātmā, what is maya-tattva, and what is Krishna-tattva. At least within our own life, even if it's just the essence. We don't have to become a scholar. It's not a battle of jñeyaṁ, but we need to understand the essence of the truth, and then we're able to properly preach and help others. Yeah? So I thank you for your attention and for... Julan has got a question. Julan? Go ahead.
According to Srila Prabhupada, our speech should be backed up by Shastra.
Yes.
But at the same time, people in general, like as non-devotee, it's not easy to present Shastra directly. So it has to be break down in digestive way for them.
Sure.
So what is the fine line, like presenting Shastra at the same time make it accessible for them?
Yes.
And not speculating.
Right. That's a good question. You see,
Can you rephrase the question?
the question was that Prabhupada states that whatever we speak should be at once backed up by Shastra. Of course, this is primarily, especially when we're giving classes or lectures or courses like that, For the general populace, at least Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks like that in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You yourself need to know where the quote is. And then you can word it in a palatable and digestible way to whomever you're speaking, whatever your audience is. You might not be able to, throw Sanskrit slokas at them and scare them away. But you should know what I'm speaking right now. I know the backup of Shastra is here and there. What are the quotes? And then you have to use your finesse of how to present it to this person so that they can accept it. Prabhu had a question?
Yes, Mataji. The word in the second, jñātvāmṛtam, aśnute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that means
Second.
knowing which you will taste the eternal.
Yes.
The term eternal, the taste means simply I know I know that Krishna is eternal, or my eternal, or my relationship is eternal. How can I understand?
Taste, ruchi, rasa. As soon as you can understand Krishna is the Supreme Person and I'm His servant, and as soon as I engage in that relationship, there is a mellow, there's a taste, there's nectar, there's bliss. It's not just an intellectual understanding, but it's a relationship. And in that relationship of service, you're getting pleasure, you're getting happiness, isn't it? Is that all right?
What about like us? Because we are not into relationships, so how to understand?
But you are.
But not like...
You are in a relationship. You're in the servant relationship. Everybody is a servant. You might not understand your position in the spiritual world, your swarup, as yet. That's not revealed to you. But Nitya Krishna does, isn't it? Everybody, everyone. Krishna is Vijay and everybody is Ashray. Even Srimati Radharani, even Lord Balaram. Everyone is Jivera Swarupahoy, Nitya Krishna Das. So we just work with that. You're a Das. That's one of the 5 relationships, isn't it?
But my point is, I am not able to...
Internal test.
You what? You're not you're able what?
interact, like how...
Are you chanting?
Yeah.
You're chanting?
Yes.
Okay, so then you're interacting. You've accepted your position that I'm a servant of Krishna and I need to chant His holy name. Right? That much you're doing.
Yeah.
Do you come to Mangalatik?
Yes.
So then? You came to Bhagavad Gita, you're listening to Krishna's words, isn't it? You can understand, or maybe you're only here because you're thinking if I don't come, I don't get prasadam. Is that why you are here? No. You see? So you're Das. We're all Das. We are Krishna's servant. And you see, we don't worry about our eternal Swarup just yet. That will become revealed in time when we are qualified. Right now, we are Prabhupada Anugas. Isn't it? We can understand how Srila Prabhupada is a Nitya Siddha devotee of the Lord, come here from the spiritual world. Right? So we have a connection. We don't know what is the spiritual world. I don't know. It's so far away, it's so big. What do I know? I don't know anything. But I know Prabhupada came here and he told us, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, you are His eternal servant, now engage in these services. Clean the temple, do some cooking, wash the pots, do your book distribution, and everything else will happen in time. Because we first of all need to become purified from our ignorance, our illusion. Isn't it? So you're Das. And everything comes from there. And how you want to feel that nectar he was asking about is up to you. You apply. Like I wasn't joking, some people might just come, otherwise they lose their position, or they lose some money, or they lose prasadam, or they lose their spot in the brahmacharya ashram, right? Isn't it? You can do your services out of those motivations, but better, okay, I understand Krishna is the Supreme Lord, He's so beautiful. Somehow or other I made a mistake, but I want to make good my mistake. And I understand I'm His servant, so this humility comes, like Prabhu was discussing yesterday. This humility comes, and now, all right, Krishna is so kind. He's given me this service of washing the pots. I'm going to really wash the pots so good so that He will be pleased. So you have to apply your heart. You have to give your feelings, and immediately Krishna will reciprocate also, and you will feel blissful and happy and all of that. Okay? All right? So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.